choose the mic, internal mic. This one.
Nobody waiting. Okay. Share. If you see this, if you see someone join, let me know. All right. Go to Replit, please. If you go to my Replit, Repls, my Repls, you can go to this plus up here. Let me try to get this out of the way. And we'll make a new one. Now we're Java. Oh, they got bells today. That's way off, isn't it? Java, so we'll select Java, and we'll go syntax and output, day one. Let's call it that. Syntax and output, day one. And we're going to create a REPL. Everybody good with this? Everybody see it? All right. And it brings up a very, very basic, very famous beginning program in a lot of languages. It just says hello world. So we could just run this, and you saw this yesterday very briefly, and it prints out hello world, finally. This is called the main class. Every program will have the main class. Class, main, notice that it's capitalized. Public. That means every other method, every other class, everything can access this main method. You cannot put the main method, or you would not want to put the main method as private. We could put that private, but we wouldn't want, our program wouldn't run hardly. It may not run at all. Static. Static means in order to run this main method, we do not have to create an object. For some methods, and you saw me create it very quickly yesterday, a separate class, I called it bug. We would not put static there because I'd have to use an object to access those methods. That's what static means. Now, I know some of you have, I mean, pretty much all of you have no idea what I'm talking about yet, probably. But I just want you to know what these words, at least know that these words have a meaning. Void. This method does not return a value. Void means I'm not returning a value, I'm just doing something. And then this is the main method right here. String with the brackets, that is an array. An array of strings. A string is just characters. ARGS, we don't use console, but argument means, args means you can send arguments to the console to be printed out. Thank you very much, appreciate it. We are in Replit, and we go to new Replit, it's gonna be a little plus symbol at the top, and that's what I named this REPL right there, syntax and output, day one. So all of this has meaning. You don't need to know the meanings of those right now. I just want you to know that has meaning. All of those words have a purpose. Out and print line, there's your method that's built in. It prints out hello world. All right, here we go. Here's where we're gonna start. We're gonna go right here, we're gonna press enter. We're gonna do a lot of commenting today because this is kind of the beginning of, beginning of what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna widen this out so it doesn't word wrap as much. And I don't really need this right now. I'm gonna close that. We will eventually. All right, that gives me a little more space. This tests your typing ability too. I won't do this every day, but I want to make sure he can hear me. Stop sharing. I'm going to chat. Can you hear me? Trying this new microphone. All right, awesome. We're good to go then. Now that I know it works, I don't have to do that every day. All right, why? Here's what we've done. We've gone into Replit. We've made a new one, and you see a plus symbol at the top right hand of the screen when you go to Replit, and make a new one, and I called it Syntax and Output Day 1. All right, why Java? Java is widely used in software development. As time goes on, I'm sure Java will become an older and older program, and I'm sure it'll be used less and less. But right now, it's a pretty widely used program. Java is a very nice language. It's nice to learn on. It's complicated yet fairly basic all at the same time. It's just a nice language to learn on. A lot of schools are teaching Python. I suspect this class will eventually go to Python, but for right now, it's Java. Java is a very popular. This all seems to say the same thing. Language used all over the planet. So pretty universal. There are over 65,000 Java jobs. So if you know how to program, that's kind of a hot ticket right now. Many of the devices we use have some code running on it somewhere. I'm going to hand this out to you, but I want you to type it. I want you to, these notes I will give you, we usually type the code so that we actually type it out, so that we actually see it on our computer. We've typed it out, then I'll hand you the notes later. And I think that's a great way to learn. I think if I just hand you the notes, it's just not going to be nearly as effective. Let's formalize what I said. Class main is the main class. Not much else to say about that. Public, accessible to all classes and methods. You don't want to have the main class as private, and then all your other methods can't get into the main class. That program's not going to work. Static means we do not need to create an object to use the main method. If we need to use an object, there's no word for that. You just don't put static. Static says you don't need an object for this. Yeah, I try to make it a little bigger. Void. There is no return value of any kind. So this method is not returning a value. This method is just operating just kind of on its own. It's going to do its own thing. Once it's done, it's done. It does not return anything. Main. Well, it's the main method. We have the main class. We have the main method. String. What's that there for? That's an array of characters. We'll learn what an array is later on. It's It's not really necessary right now to know what that means, but just know it has meaning. There's a reason it's there. And then args can send an argument to the console. Is a very basic way to say it. If you want to learn more about this, I'm sure you can Google it and find 100 different pages that will tell you what args mean. It's not necessary to know what that means. Hold on a second. Oh, I must have a second page to this. There we go. Print class. I don't know what I meant by this. Oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. Let's do this. This, see how it highlights on mine? This brace with this brace, those two go together. Then when you click on button next to this one, it says these two go together. That's a little way to show you where, because when we have nested stuff, you'll want to see where these are pairing up. So what we're going to do is we're going to get out of the main method, but we have to stay in the class. Now here's an example of a public static. We're going to do a void, and we're going to print class. So we're going to make a method. We're going to make what's called a static method. Got to put parentheses at the end. Put a brace. It puts in a second brace for you, and then you press enter. And I'll pause. Make sure you can stay with me on this. All those commenting stuff is not going to affect how your program is run. This will. Okay. Oh, you want me to come over there and look at it? Or you have your charger? Take it out. See if we can reach up here. I bet we can. Oh, let's take the, oh, hold on, don't plug it in. Let's take the knots out. Oh, there wasn't knots. Looked like it. All right, you're welcome. All right, so now we're here, and we're just gonna do something real simple. We're gonna do system dot out dot print line. This is AP Computer Science A. Semicolon at the end. Let's go back into the main method now. We were in the class, but out of the main method. Let's go back into the main method right here. Press enter. I'm on line 14 now. And I can just run this method. I can run it now because I called it a static method. I can just go print class right there, run it, and over on the right-hand side, it should print hello world, and then this is AP Computer Science A. And here's where the fun begins. If you get an error, you have to go find your error. So go ahead and run it and see if you get any errors. Anybody get errors? You got an error? All right. Now, you got to make sure that this is capitalized right here, system. These two have to match. So you notice how it highlights them? That means if I click on this, those are actually matching. If those aren't both highlighted, that means there's something different about them. You have to have these parentheses right here. And you just, if you have exactly what I have, it should work just fine. May I see it? Oh, your bracket, your braces aren't matching up. You're missing a brace. I'm the king of the world. There you go. Anybody else? It's only running what? Oh yeah, you didn't run the method. I'll show you up here. You don't have this right here. You never ran it. All right, cool. Okay, well, let's do this now. Everybody good? We're gonna go back under this method right here. I'm gonna go under, I'm on line 18, press enter. We're gonna go public, static. And this is way ahead of the ball game, but it might allow you to understand a little bit more of what's going on. We're gonna return an integer, int. So I'm not putting void there because this method is going to return a value to where I call it. And I wanted to keep it real simple. We're just going to say we're going to return a number. Usually we return, oh wait. Did I do integer? Yeah, okay. Usually we can do some sort of calculations in here and then return it, but we're going to keep it pretty straightforward. We're just going to return the value 5. If you're saying you're going to return something, you must have the word return. And this is a little ahead of the ball game, but I think it's going to help you understand how this is working a little bit better. Everybody good? Now I'm going to go back up to line 14, and I'm going to use this method. Now this void method has a print statement in it, so it will output on its own. This one does not have a print statement in it, so if I run it, it's not going to do anything. So like this, watch, return number. And if I click on it, those two should be highlighted if I type them exactly the same. If I run it, it's not going to print 5 because nothing told it to print 5. All it did was return the value 5. So when you return values, if you want to see them, you actually have to print them. Print line. Return number. Now when I run, it's going to actually print that number 5. Before it didn't print it because I didn't tell it to print it. All I did was tell it to return it. What should we do next? Here we go. Run and see if it works. Return number is an identifier. Identifiers cannot start with a number. This is test questions right here, boys and girls. Cannot be a reserved word. So identifier, you cannot name an identifier void. You cannot name an identifier system. You cannot name an identifier string. Any reserved word is off limits. And we're talking about kind of like variables. So right here, this return number, I cannot start it with a number. I can only use letters and numbers, no characters. So identifiers can't have ats or semicolons or exclamation marks in them. They're not like passwords. Okay, what else is there? Word like void, you can't have that. Not allowed. Cannot contain characters. Enter. Other than letters and numbers. Now to help you with this static stuff, I'm going to open this back up. And I see some of you typing still. Don't let me get too far ahead. I have no problem stopping. Someone just has to tell me I'm going too fast. I'm going to click this button right here, add a file. And just like yesterday, I'm going to call it bug.java. This is a new class. Now the class must be bug. If you name the file bug, the class has to be called bug. Let's see, we're period 2, 10:17. I got about an 18-minute video that I have to show you. Who said that? Go ahead. No, we're on TA schedule. Yeah, yep. Because the bell rang at 9, right? I didn't either. I think we're TA because I got to show you this video. Okay. A new class, bug. Where's my bug at? Here we go. Let's make 2 methods in here. Let's go public void type system out. This prints stuff out. I am a ladybug. Let's do public. Let's do string. Notice it's capitalized. Color. And return this. Red with black dots. Notice the one word that we did not use on this is static. None of these are static. In order to run these 2 methods, I must now create an object. I have to. Otherwise, they will not run. I got to switch screens. So is everybody okay, or should I wait? Just yell wait. Okay, perfect. Notice capitalization with system, with string, and that's pretty much it. In between the quotations, it won't affect how the program works. Got to have those semicolons or else you'll get an error. Got to have those parentheses or else you're going to have an error. We'll put parameters in there later. It gets pretty fun. All right, back to the main. Now let's try to use those. But in order for us to use those, we have to create a bug. Maybe I should stick to the notes. Bug Larry is equal to, he's a new bug. Now, because we didn't use the static, that's why we're creating this object here. And we can go system, out, print, no, we can just do this. Larry.type, type had a print statement in it. So when we run it, the last line should now say, I'm a ladybug. There we go. You seen A Bug's Life? Isn't that with the male ladybug and he's all sensitive about being called a ladybug? It's pretty funny. It's a good movie. Good movie. System out, print line. Oh, I have it right here. Larry.color. So we're using the object to call the method that we created. Run. It should say red with black dots. Way ahead of the game, but now hopefully you know that why that static word is there. Static means you do not have to create an object. That we made static methods down here. We made 2 of them. Don't need to create an object. Notice up here there's no object to run these methods right here. Then we created a class that wasn't static and we had to make that object right there. Here's some few more things you're going to need to know. Where am I at? Braces. Every class and every method must have braces. Whoops, need to comment this. The double / means ignore this. It's not part of the program. If you don't put anything, it is public. Semicolon must be used after every statement. And notice that this is more like a heading, so we don't put a semicolon after like headings. After statements in the method, we have to have semicolons. Never put a semicolon before a brace. Whoops, I need to comment that out. This isn't part of the program. Oh, and use indentation for organization. Notice that, I'm going to scroll up just a little bit and I'll come back down. Notice that the main class is way over to the left, then the next method is over, and then the statements for the methods are over, and I did the same thing. It does it automatically. I did that for the methods also. If you miss one little thing in your program, it may not run. You might get errors. And when you go back to investigate and to try to find those errors, you want very good organization. Because that's the frustrating part about programming is you have a 200 line program. Somewhere in those 200 lines, there could be one character that you missed. You didn't capitalize system. You didn't use a semicolon. You didn't actually run the method. Finding it is tough. So you want an organized program so that what's a tough thing to do is a little bit easier. Technically, we could write this program all in one line if we wanted to, and it would run. Java doesn't know that there's different lines. Actually, it kind of does, because it tries to tell you what line your error is on. It does the best it can. Java's like, I think your error is right there on line 20. Sometimes that's not the case. But we need to be organized so we can find our errors. All right, let's start doing this. I have to pick up the pace a little bit. System, out, print line. Oh no, I just want to print. Print, hello. You won't see what this does until we print another line. System out, print line. Space there. Print line will print, then kick the cursor down to the next line. A print statement will print and keep the cursor on the same line. So when we run this, hello there will be on the same line. And there it is, on the same line. Print will print hello, keeps the cursor right there after hello. So if we want a space in between the words, I had to put a space there, or I could have put a space after hello. So if we did this, take that space out and put it there, would be the same output. It would still have a space in it. If you don't put any space in this, then they'll be right next to each other, like that. So you gotta, if you want a decent sentence here, you wanna put a space either end or the beginning, either one. Print keeps it on the same line, print line kicks it down to the next line. That's going to be a test question, I'm sure. All right, there's another one that we don't use quite as much. Print format, F. And here's an example of one print format. If you use %, 5.2, F, %n, and then 5.1473. This will make 5 spaces for the number and round to 2 decimal places. And apparently I have an error somewhere. Oh yeah, that's simple enough, thank you. Notice how it's kicked over. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 characters, and that space right there, that's the 5th character. So it left 5 characters, 5 spaces for this number, rounded to 2 decimal places. So that's an example of print F. Print using a certain format. Let's do this. That just prints a blank line. For formatting our output to look like I want it, sometimes we just have to space it out a little bit. If you want a blank space, that's how you have a blank space. And so just for the sake of notes, system out, print line, blank space above. Something like that, just to tell us, hey, we put a blank space above this. Oh boy, we got a lot left. Okay, here we go. Where am I at? I want to be right here. Escape sequences. System out, print line. Whoops, double quotes. Jump to backslash now says, all right, Java, I want you to do something special on the next character. So if the next character is an N, that's going to tell Java to jump down to a new line. A new line. Notice that when we run this, it will not print \n. It'll say jump to, and then on a new line is on the next line. Right here. Jump to, escape sequence, go to a new line and print a new line. Escape sequence, \n, new line. This is a backslash. So if a backslash says escape sequence, then how are we going to actually print a backslash? Well, you go backslash, backslash. Now that first one is the escape sequence. The next one is what we want actually printed. So when we run it, then you can now actually print a backslash. And I forgot semicolon again. I I'm very good at forgetting semicolons. There, that's how you print it. I'll get it. Many backslashes. If I print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, how many backslashes do you think are going to actually be printed? 4. So every other is the escape sequence. Every other is how many are going to be printed. So this should be 4 backslashes. That, what? System out, print line, many backslashes, 1 error, many backslashes. What? I have a semicolon, right? What's the matter with you? There we go, got it. System out, print line. Yeah, I got it. How do we print a quotation mark? If quotation marks means print within this, how do we actually print a quotation mark? We go backslash quotation. I need another one. There we go. You gotta kind of manipulate it because it tries to automatically put in double quotes. Penny saved is a penny earned. Here. Go to the end one and delete it. So that's how we actually can print a quote mark. A double quote is use that escape sequence. So then when we run it, you'll see the double quotes are actually printed. System out, print line. What's next on these? Name, tab, age. That's tab. You can tab over 8 spaces, it'll print on the 9th space, except it counts name as the spaces. So let's do this. So we can see the spaces on the next one. Let's do this. Whoops, I forgot a quote mark up here. I don't know how I forgot that. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with the 0. This is tab. Now notice, can I scroll up? It's way down at the bottom, but notice that name occupies the first 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and then it goes 5, 6, 7, 8, and then A is now on the 9th space. So it tabs over 8 spaces, it now prints on the 9th space. Escape sequence T is tab. Computer, escape sequence B, and then science. This is a backspace. Deletes last character. So when we run this, and I'll let you catch up. I think I'm going a little too fast. It says computer, it erased the R, and then it put science. And notice it did that because I didn't put any spaces in here. So if I would put a space in here, the R would be there, but now it all runs together. Now it'd be computer. Oh, that didn't. Oh, it still erased the R. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, my bad. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even try that before. So it erased it no matter what. Still had science. Cool. So it erases the character. It does not erase a space. This one's a little weird. Computer, R for return. Hello? It'll type computer, returns back to the beginning, and types hello. I know it's way down at the bottom. I can't scroll it at all. Maybe I can press enter a few times. There we go. It typed computer, returned back to the beginning, typed hello. So it's helloder. All right, we got a few left. Oh, yeah. There's your escape. Oh, one more on the escape sequences. Let's make a note here. Returns to beginning of line. Make a little note on that one. Last escape sequence. To print a single quote, escape sequence, single quote, we'll make it simple there. That last line should, dang it. Last line should be a single quote. Boom. There it is, a single quote. Pretty self-explanatory on that one, I think. All right, here we go. System out, print line. 7 plus 8 plus 9. If we do it this way, it's going to print out 24. There it is, 24 at the bottom. System out, print line. How about we start with quotations? Plus 7, plus 8, plus 9. What this does is it starts it out not as numbers, it starts it out as a string. And you can add characters to string. We call it concatenation. And so it'll go space 7, 8, 9. It will not add these together. It will follow order of operations. Remember that, keep that in mind. So look, it's space 7, 8, 9. Start, the first thing it saw was a string, so everything after that becomes a string. They're not numbers anymore. It's the character 7. It's the character 8. It's the character 9. They're not numbers anymore to Java. Seven plus 8 plus a character plus 9. Java goes order of operations. It sees it's all pluses. It does the first 2 pluses, and it'll go 15 space 9. This will be 15 space 9. There it is. System out, print line. How about this one? 7 plus 8 plus space plus 9 times 3. I know you're typing, but what will it do first? What's order of operations? 9 times 3, right? So that should be 27. I think it's going to be 15 space 27. It'll do the multiplication, then it does addition left to right. Well, it doesn't hit the character until pretty much the end. There it is, 1527. Think order of operations, and I don't think this is all that bad. we're going to try to run this one. It's going to give us an error, and then we'll comment it out. 7 plus 8 plus quotations plus 9 minus 3. It already underlined it. It already said, whoa, 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 that's not going to work. And we can even hover it over it, and let's see, it says, the operator minus is undefined for the argument type string integer. Order of operations is going to be left to right. It's going to see 7 plus 8 and go 15, plus character, plus space. Concatenate 9, there's no minus 3. It just became a character. It doesn't know what minus 3 is. How do you take a string and minus a character 3 from a string? It doesn't make any sense. So we can't do this. Minus does not work with strings. Plus does. Plus concatenates. It adds this character. Minus makes no sense. So what we should do, so our program will keep running, we'll comment that out. We'll leave it in for notes, comment it out so we can keep running our program without errors. Okay. Oh boy, I got to wrap this up. This got a little long today. Notes don't usually take this long. Let's jump to this. Let's make a string S a variable. Computer. Systemout.println S dot character at 8. New command, you have no idea what this command does. This command just says, what character is at space number 8? 0. Your first space is actually the 0 character. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 0 through 7 on computer. There's no 8. So when I run this, this is called a runtime error. I didn't type anything wrong. Runtime error. There's no syntax error there. I didn't type anything wrong. It's just when it ran it, it looked, and there's no space 8 for computer. Those are called runtime errors. Let's just do this. Missing a semicolon is a syntax error. Spelling system wrong, syntax error. Not capitalizing system, syntax error. Not a runtime error. Syntax error causes your program to not even run. If your program runs fine, but then hits an error, that's called a runtime error. All right, that's it. I got to get to this video. Oh, your assignment. I have a worksheet for you, and now you have a Replit. Replit's called ASCII Box 1. I don't have a student account. Where? Upgrade. I want you to get to, oh, can you go home? Can you go to home? Is there a home for you? We're looking for assignments. It's in what? Students. So up here, student, classroom. You see where I did that? Everybody see that? And then here's your assignments, ASCII box 1. You see that? Okay, so if you click into this, it brings up something I've already built. This is the instructions over here. This is where you do your code and you can run it, and there's your console right there. So you're just going to print out this box. Now, the spacing on Replit is really jacked up. For when you actually do this, those pluses will line up with those A's. Everybody understand that? You don't need a bunch of extra A's. It's going to be a rectangle when you're done. I also have, stop going down. Go up, right there. I think I have, there we go. Here's what it should actually look like. Right there, like that. So your assignment is the worksheet, which I printed out for you, and this REPL. Everybody understand what we're going to do? And then there's you submit it right here when you're done. There's the submit button. Yeah, go ahead. Did you sign up for REPL? Okay, let's take a look. What's your name? Okay. Yeah, you were listed on here. Three people still haven't signed up for this, so I don't know how you're gonna do your homework. Christian, Brock, Tyson, Jacob. Is that you? Okay. Did you enroll in the class? I bet that's what you haven't done. You have an account, but you haven't gone into my class yet. So go back into that class information. That'll tell you how to join the class. That's what you haven't done. All right, I finally got to get to this.
Your learning goals for this presentation today are to review the points of emphasis in the Elkhorn South Student Handbook, know where to locate a student handbook should you need more information, identify your Elkhorn South administrators and counselors as resources for questions concerning expectations, guidelines, and policies, and finally, to sign the student signature slip with your teacher advisory teacher, acknowledging that you were with us today during our presentation. All students are responsible for adhering to the guidelines and policies of the student handbook.
Can you pass those down, please?
Please familiarize yourself with the handbook and use it as a reference.
What's that?
The handbook
No, I don't.
on the Elkhorn South
You won't be able to see your output.
The handbook can also be found by logging into your ClassLink account and accessing the
Pass those down, please.
But first, the friendly faces.
Can you pass those down? I don't know if you can reach over there.
Mr. Calvota, Miss Bruce, Mrs. Lindemann, and Mr. Ortmeyer are
Pass
here.
those down, please, for me.
If you have any questions about the policies or expectations outlined in our student handbook. This year, it is important that we discuss pertinent safety protocols in place to keep students and staff safe from COVID-19.
Yeah.
First, students and staff are required to wear appropriate masks when entering, while
You-
inside, and
Want me to do it now?
Yeah, is it up?
That's fine, yeah.
Please note that masks need to cover both your mouth and your nose. Social distancing practices need to be followed in order to minimize the spread of the virus and to keep school in session. Please stay 6 feet away from others as much as possible. Students need to use their assigned entrance daily, which is based on their first hour teacher, and use the exit closest to their 7th hour class. Also, students and staff will wash their hands multiple times throughout the day or sanitize their hands multiple times throughout the day. And students will eat in their assigned lunch spot or seat. If a student becomes sick with COVID-19 symptoms during the school day, he or she will be sent home.
Put your phone away, please.
In addition to our COVID-19 protocols, we will review our policies. First, our attendance policy. It is important for all students to know that any student who exceeds exceeds 8 absences per semester, including those excused by a parent, or 2 unexcused absences, will be at half-credit status for those courses. Additionally, any student who exceeds 20 absences, or the hourly equivalent, will be formally reported to the
Either you're on your phone or you're like staring at your crotch.
Douglas County will then send an
What's
advisory
that?
notice to families, which may include the need for.
What is that?
It's like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now, right now,
So what does that mean? If you exceed 8 absences and are enrolled in some classes, you may only earn 3 credits for the semester instead of 6. This could result in delayed graduation or the need to repeat the course. Nebraska state law requires the reporting of students that exceed 20 days of absences to the Douglas County Attorney. The Douglas County Attorney and a community intervention team will determine if and what next steps need to be taken to address excessive absenteeism. So, what can you do about absences? First, be mindful of absences when scheduling doctor's appointments and family vacations. Limit the number of days or periods of school missed. Remember, finals may not be taken early, so check the school calendar when scheduling winter and summer break vacations to ensure that you are present for semester finals there. If you are sick,
No for loops. Just use print statements.
School office to document illness. These can be used in the event an attendance appeal is necessary. And remember to communicate. Talk with your administrator, your counselor, or your teachers about absences. We want to help, and we want you to be here, and we want you to succeed. So here's what counts as unexcused or truant. A student who has not been called in by a parent the morning of the absence. A student who is in the building but not in his or her assigned class for the entire period.
Oh my god.
A student that is missing from school, a class, lunch, or study hall without parent and or school permission.
Is it? Oh,
And this includes absences from TA. TA truancies may also result in detention and or after hours. A student that leaves the school building during the day without getting school and parent permission and without signing out of the building is considered unexcused.
There we go.
Truant.
Yep.
This includes leaving to go to the parking lot. Administrative permission and a sign out is necessary if you need to go to your car. And remember, students are not allowed to be kids for lunch. Finally, remember, exceeding 2 unexcused absences will result.
You have this, so don't worry
in
about that.
credit.
Let's do this to make sure it's working.
The bottom line is we want you to keep class.
No. That's not what I mean.
So here are some steps to success. Meet with your teachers. Use your TA time for study groups, for retakes, for grade checks, etc. Utilize After School Academy, which is available to all students Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 4:30 in the Media Center. Tutors are available there for any students who need it. Also, some students may be assigned to or choose to go to guided study hall or to the math lab located in the Media Center. Also, peer tutoring is available in the Counseling Center for students who request it, and you should always consider visiting with your counselor. Interventions may also be assigned to students by teachers, by counselors, or by the administration. Elkhorn South is lucky to have 5 counselors here to assist students. Mr.
Good to go.
Gastineau, Mrs.
Cool.
Cosmo,
Don't go back and change those notes. You have these.
Mr. Kingston,
Okay. All right.
and Mr. Patrick can be found in the counseling center and are available for all students. Next, let's talk about tardies. We want you to be at each of your classes on time. However, if you are late, here's what you can expect. Tardies are referred at approximately 3 tardies each. After your first referral, 1 detention will be assigned.
All right, Ashton, we're out. See you, buddy.